Good afternoon to all the EAPCET aspirants. This is your Prasanna ma'am from NEET WORLD. So yes, we are going to start the chapter Plant Kingdom. The highlights of this chapter where we can expect maximum questionnaire in the type of multi-statement based questions or match the following type of questions and diagram based as well from this chapter. Okay. So first let us look into the fundamental insights of this chapter and then we will go into the concepts in detail. So the first segment of this chapter is classification systems. Classification systems, you will also learn this in the taxonomy of angiosperms in your text, but here only I am dealing in this chapter. In classification systems, you have to learn about artificial system of classification, natural system of classification and phylogenetic system of classification. They are proponents who have given this classification, and major drawbacks of this classification should be highlighted when you are going through these classification systems. After this, branches of taxonomy. Branches of taxonomy, you have to go through numerical taxonomy, cytotaxonomy and chemotaxonomy. After this, we have to go through 5 divisions of plant kingdom. What are the 5 divisions of plant kingdom, beta? 5 divisions of kingdom Plantae. Include algae, which comes under Thallophyta, then Bryophyta, which are the amphibians of plant kingdom, Pteridophyta, which are the first vascular cryptogams, and then Gymnosperms, which have naked seeds, and then Angiosperms. These are the 5 divisions of kingdom Plantae. Okay, and the classes under this divisions also we have to go through. All the 5 divisions in detail with examples and the reproductive methods, very important. After this, we will look into the life cycles, alternation of generations, how the life cycle is being varying, whether it is haplontic life cycle, haplodiplontic or diplontic life cycles. These are the concepts that we have to deal with. There is not even a single site where we can leave for the EAPCET exam from this chapter, that important chapter beta. So first let us get started with plant kingdom. Plant kingdom, as we have discussed, it has how many divisions, ma? 5 divisions, wherein first type, these are cryptogams, which are non-flowering plants, and second is phanerogams, which are flowering plants. Cryptogams, non-flowering plants, primitive plants include algae, which comes under what? Thallophyta, then Bryophyta and Pteridophyta, and then phanerogams, flowering plants. These are also called as spermatophytes, which means seed bearing plants. Fine. Includes what? Gymnosperms and angiosperms. After this, we have classification systems. Look into that carefully beta. First is artificial system of classification, which is also called as sexual system of classification. Okay, this is also termed as sexual system of classification. Okay, and the proponents of this classification includes Linnaeus and Aristotle. They included what? Gross morphological characters. Based on gross morphological characters like habit, color, number and shapes of the leaves, the classification is done. Okay, Linnaeus has also considered the andrecium structure for the classification. Andrecium structure is considered by Linnaeus for the classification. That is why it is also known as what? Sexual system of classification. So the artificial system of classification or sexual system of classification, proponents are Linnaeus and Aristotle. They have considered what beta? Gross morphological features and reproductive structures like andrecium structure. Okay, they have considered andrecium structure by Linnaeus. Okay, so here the major drawbacks include what? Equal weightage, as equal weightage is given to both vegetative and sexual characters. Vegetative characters are frequently affected by the environment. Yes or no? Vegetative characters are frequently affected by the environment. That is the reason as equal weightage is given, both for vegetative characters and reproductive characters. This stands as the major drawback of artificial system of classification. So at the end from this slide, what you have to remember, artificial system is also known as sexual system of classification. Proponents are Linnaeus and Aristotle. They have considered what beta? Gross morphological features and the androecium structure. Major drawback is what? Equal weightage is given for vegetative and sexual characters, as vegetative characters are frequently affected by the environment. That stands as the major drawback. This is clear, right? Next is natural system of classification. Natural system of classification, proponents include Bentham, Bentham and Hooker. Okay, George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. These are the proponents of natural system of classification. In natural system of classification, along with gross morphological features, internal characters are also considered for classification. So here you have to remember, along with external features include gross morphological features. Along with external features, internal characters are also considered. Internal features or characteristics are also considered. Features or characteristics are also considered. So based on the natural affinities among organisms, along with internal features, like internal features include ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology and phytochemistry. Along with these internal features, external features were also considered. Okay, right ma? So this is about natural system of classification. After this, phylogenetic system of classification. Proponents of phylogenetic system of classification include Engler, Prantl, Hutchinson and Tucktarjan. Okay, Engler, Prantl, Hutchinson and Tucktarjan. These are the proponents of phylogenetic system of classification. This is the most advanced system of classification, as evolutionary relationships are considered. The classification is purely based on what beta? Evolutionary relationships between various organisms. So the key feature here is all the organisms which belong to a single taxa. Single taxa in a sense, for example, all the organisms belonging to one class, they have same common ancestor. For example, different classes are there, like dicotyledons, monocotyledons, different classes, they have same common ancestor, kingdom Plantae. Based on this rule, they have considered evolutionary relationships for the classification. Okay, so organisms belonging to the same taxa will have common ancestor. Based on this point, the evolutionary relationships are considered for the classification, and this is the most advanced system of classification, that is phylogenetic system of classification. Okay, phylogenetic system, proponents include Engler and Prantl. They have considered evolutionary relationships. Organisms belonging to the same taxa will have a common ancestor. I hope three systems of classification are clear to all of you. First is artificial or sexual system of classification. Second is what ma? Natural system of classification, and third is phylogenetic system of classification. Key points or key takeaways, you have to remember the proponents of the classification, key points on what basis the classification is done, and thirdly drawbacks. Drawbacks are major drawbacks for only artificial system of classification. I hope this is clear, and then we will move on to branches of taxonomy. We have three branches of taxonomy. One is numerical taxonomy, which is also said as phonetics. Second is cytotaxonomy, and third will be chemotaxonomy. First, here you see ma numerical taxonomy or phonetics. Here all the observable characters, they are assigned, with codes, numbers. Easily they are carried on using computers. Okay, all the characters are assigned with plus, minus, zero signs and various numericals, and the entire data is stored in the computers. Okay, so as such, hundreds of characters can be analyzed in a single time. That is the major advantage of what? Numerical taxonomy. Hundreds of characters are considered at the same time, and each character here is given equal importance. Each character is given equal importance. Okay, so numerical taxonomy or phonetics, all observable characters assigned with all these codes. Each character is given equal importance and hundreds of characters are considered at the same time. That is the advantage of numerical taxonomy. And then is what ma? Cytotaxonomy. Cytotaxonomy is based on what? Cytological information. Cytological information includes chromosome number, structure and behavior. If at all in your question 4 options are given, chromosome number, structure and behavior, and third is, and fourth will be chromosome shape. Chromosome shape. Then you have to eliminate out chromosome shape, because in few of your EAPCET PYQs or NEET PYQ also this question is asked. Okay, based on what cytotaxonomy is addressed. Cytotaxonomy gives out cytological information like what? Chromosome number, structure and behavior, but not chromosome shape. Okay, if chromosome shape is given in your options, then odd man out, eliminate that. Remember these 3, very important beta, very important. Just keep it in your memory. Okay, after this is chemotaxonomy. Chemotaxonomy is based on what? Based on the chemical constituents of the plants. Chemotaxonomy is based on the chemical constituents, like n number of chemical constituents or cellular constituents are present in each cell, be it primary metabolites or secondary metabolites or cellular organelles. Okay, all those comes under what? Chemical constituents of the cell, which are addressed under chemotaxonomy. So under branches of taxonomy, what did we learn beta? Numerical taxonomy or phonetics, cytotaxonomy and chemotaxonomy. Next, if you have to look into algae, okay, algae, chlorophyll bearing, simple, thalloid and autotrophic organisms. Algae includes what? All the thalloid organisms which are chlorophyll bearing, simple and autotrophic. Largely they are aquatic, most of them are freshwater, mostly freshwater, few of them are marine. And then if you have to see, few of the algae are also as symbionts. Some of them are also symbionts like lichens. In lichens, the algal component is phycobiont. In lichens, algal component is phycobiont. Phycobiont is just 5% of total lichen. In a lichen, if you can observe, only 5% of algae will be that algal component is phycobiont, that will provide what? Food to the fungi. Fungal component is mycobiont, which occupies 95% of the lichen. Just this 5% of algae will provide the nutrition for entire fungal component. Okay, so lichens, what is the best use of it? They are good pollution indicators. Next, on the sloth bear, algae growing over the sloth bear will give camouflage activity and it will help the sloth bear to escape from the predators. Okay, it will help the sloth bear to escape from predators. Clear, right? So this is about the habit and habitat of algae. Next, if you see, algae is highly variable in both form and size. Okay, unicellular algae includes what ma? Chlamydomonas. Colonial algae includes what? Volvox and Eudorina. Filamentous green algae includes Eulothrix and Spirogera. Marine forms of algae like kelps. Kelps are massive plant bodies which you can see in oceans. Okay, kelps are massive plant bodies which comes under what? Brown algae. Okay. Next you see, these are different types of algae, unicellular, colonial and multicellular. Okay, unicellular Chlamydomonas, unicellular green algae. Okay, unicellular green algae Chlamydomonas. Volvox, it is colonial with parental colonies and daughter colonies. Spirogyra is multicellular and filamentous green algae. And kelps, if you see, these are massive plant bodies where you can observe in the oceans and seas. This is brown algae. Okay, Ectocarpus will turn into massive plant bodies, those only you will call it as what? Kelps. Okay, and next if you observe, vascular tissues are completely absent. Okay, that is why their habitat is what? Mostly aquatic. Vascular tissues are absent. Now if you have to see the reproduction is done in 3 methods as usual: vegetative, asexual and sexual. Vegetative mode of reproduction, most common mode of vegetative reproduction in algae is fragmentation, wherein each fragment which is fragmented from the parent thallus will grow into a daughter thallus. Okay, each fragment from the parent thallus, when it is fragmented, it grows into the daughter thallus and grows into a new algae. Next, asexual reproduction is by spores. First is zoospores, second aplanospores, third is hypnospores. Amongst this, zoospores are motile. Sexual reproduction is done in three methods. One is isogamous, second anisogamous, and third is oogamous. Three modes of sexual reproduction. Here the sex organs are non-jacketed. If you have to see the advanced classes like bryophytes and pteridophytes, sex organs are jacketed over there, but in algae sex organs are not jacketed. Sex organs are unicellular and they are non-jacketed, isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. Next, asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, first is what? Zoospores. Okay, zoospores have heterocont flagella. Heterocont flagella. Take down ma, very important. Heterocont flagella. Okay, in which one is smooth and whiplash type of flagella and the other have small hair-like structures over it. This is called as tinsel flagella. Whiplash and tinsel. And second is what ma? Aplanospores. Okay, aplanospores, these are non-motile. Non-motile aplanospores. And hypnospores, these are produced out in unfavorable conditions. Unfavorable conditions. Okay, hypnospores produced out in unfavorable conditions. Okay, so here you can see asexual reproduction is done through asexual spores. One is zoospores, heterocont flagella with two types of flagella. Heterocont will have two flagella, they are motile. One is whiplash and the other is tinsel type of flagella. Aplanospores are non-motile and hypnospores, they are produced in the unfavorable conditions. This is the mode of asexual reproduction. Once these spores landing onto the suitable substratum, they will develop into new thallus. Yes, good afternoon Naresh, please continue with the class ma. Any doubt you are asking, you can drop the message in the chat box, I will be answering your doubts. Okay. Now, sexual method of reproduction. Sexual reproduction is by isogamous, anisogamous and oogamy. First you look into the isogamous mode of sexual reproduction. Here, both the male gamete and female gamete should be similar both in the structure and physiology. Male gamete and female gamete should exhibit the similarity both in the structure and physiology. Okay. So, male gamete and female gamete are similar structurally and physiologically, of which motile male and female gametes you can see in Eulothrix, non-motile male and female gamete you can see it in Spirogyra. Spirogyra is filamentous green algae. Eulothrix is also filamentous green algae, but it has motile male and female gametes. Very important, you have to remember all the examples, n number of times asked in your NEET and EAPCET PYQs. Okay, so here Eudorrhina, here you see ma. Eudorrhina is the best example for anisogamous mode of sexual reproduction. In anisogamous mode, either male and female gamete will show differences in morphology or in physiology. Male and female gametes will exhibit differences either in morphology or in physiology. Example is what? Eudorrhina. Next is what? Oogamous mode of sexual reproduction, wherein motile male gamete will fertilize non-motile large female gamete. Motile male gamete with large non-motile female gamete. Best examples include volvox, fucus and polysiphonia, of which volvox is colonial green algae, fucus is brown algae, polysiphonia is red algae. Red algae. Take down ma, fix it in your mind. If you are having any doubts, drop a message. Just 2 minutes, take down. Any doubts regarding sexual reproduction, you can drop the message. Yeah. Now, let's get back. Based on what algae is classified? The basis of classification are again important. Based on pigmentation, flagellation, storage products and cell wall, the algae is classified into what? Chlorophyceae. Algae is classified into chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae, that is brown algae, and third is rhodophyceae. What are the basis of classification, ma? Pigmentation, flagellation, storage products and cell wall. Based on that, we have three: green algae also addressed as chlorophyceae, brown algae also known as phaeophyceae, and red algae is also known as rhodophyceae. First we will see class by class. First, chlorophyceae. Observe it carefully. The general characteristics of chlorophyceae includes the structural description. They can be unicellular, colonial or filamentous. Unicellular, best example you tell me. Just now we have learnt unicellular, best example Chlamydomonas and Chlorella. Colonial, best examples you tell me, Volvox and Eudorina. Filamentous green algae, best examples tell me beta, Ulothrix and Spirogyra. Habitat, mostly chlorophycean members are what? Freshwater organisms. They inhabit freshwater. Pigmentation is grass green. This grass green pigmentation is because of dominance of few pigments like chlorophyll A, B, which is present inside the chloroplast. Chloroplast organelles are present inside the algae. Chloroplast consists of pigments chlorophyll A and B, and they also consist of storage bodies. Where are storage bodies present in the green algae? Your answer should be inside chloroplast. Inside chloroplast, storage bodies are present, and storage bodies here they are what? Pyrenoids. Storage bodies are pyrenoids. Pyrenoids will store protein besides starch. Okay, pyrenoids will store proteins besides starch, and some green algae will have what? Oil droplets. Some green algae will have what? Oil droplets. So here you see general characteristics. Chlorophycean members are unicellular, Chlamydomonas and Chlorella. Colonial forms include Volvox and Eudorina. Filamentous form Ulothrix and Spirogyra. Mostly they are freshwater. Pigmentation is grass green. Dominance of the pigments is because of chlorophyll A, B. They are present inside the chloroplast. Chloroplast also consists of storage bodies like pyrenoids, which stores proteins besides starch, which means it has both protein and starch. Some of the green algae will also have oil droplets inside the chloroplast. So, inside chloroplast what are present? Chlorophyll A and B pigments, and it also has pyrenoids, oil droplets. Clear ma? Clear with the general characteristics of chlorophyceae? Next you see cell wall. Cell wall of green algal members is rigid with outer cell wall pectose layer and inner cell wall, that is cellulose. Outer layer of green algae is what? Pectose, and inner layer is what? Cellulose. Reproduction, if you have to consider, vegetative reproduction is through fragmentation, asexual reproduction is through zoosporangia. Zoosporangia will produce out zoospores. Zoospores are motile, right ma? Zoospores are motile. It has two flagella, one is smooth whiplash and the other is tinsel type of flagella. Clear, right ma? Next, sexual mode of reproduction, as we have discussed, it can be isogamous, anisogamous, oogamous. You already know the definitions of isogamy, anisogamy and oogamy. Isogamy, examples you look into. Ulothrix, they have flagellated motile gametes, male and female gametes. Spirogyra, they have non-motile male and female gametes. Both of them are isogamous only. Anisogamous example, Eudorina, which is the colonial green algae. Oogamous, Volvox. It has small motile male gamete with fertilizes with large non-motile female gamete. Small motile male gamete is Antheridia. Large non-motile female gamete is Oogonia. Clear, right? Any doubt anywhere ma? Next. Here you see shapes of the chromosome, shapes of the chloroplast. very important. Okay, shapes of the chloroplast. Here you see shapes of the chloroplast. First, Chlamydomonas is what? Cup-shaped chloroplast. Chlamydomonas has cup-shaped chloroplast. Spirogyra has spiral or ribbon-shaped chloroplast. Chara is having discoid-shaped. Volvox also has large cup-shaped chloroplast. Large cup-shaped chloroplast. Fine, ma. So, Chlamydomonas has cup-shaped chloroplast, Spirogyra spiral or ribbon-shaped, Chara has discoid chloroplast, Volvox is having large cup-shaped chloroplast. And then if you see Phaeophyceae habitat is what? Marine habitat. This shows great variation both in the size and form. They exhibit great variation from simple branched filamentous brown algae like Ectocarpus to profusely branched kelps. Okay, simple branched filamentous Ectocarpus to profusely branched kelps. Pigmentation, if you have to observe, chlorophyll A, C, carotenoids and xanthophylls. Okay, and fucoxanthin is the major pigment of brown algae. Fucoxanthin is the major pigment of brown algae. They exhibit colors from olive green to various shades of brown color. Okay, they exhibit colors from olive green to various shades of brown color. Olive green to various shades of brown. So, what are the general characteristics? Phaeophyceae, those are brown algal members. Habitat is marine, and it shows great variation in form and size from simple branched Ectocarpus to profusely branched kelps. Pigmentation is chlorophyll A, C, carotenoids, xanthophylls, and the major pigmentation is fucoxanthin, which exhibits color from olive green to various shades of brown. And then you see storage bodies. Storage bodies of brown algae includes complex carbohydrates like laminarin and mannitol. Cell wall is cellulosic. Okay, it has a gelatinous coating, that is algin. Algin is the gelatinous coating. Reproduction, if you have to see, three modes of reproduction again: vegetative, asexual and sexual. Vegetative mode of reproduction is anyhow fragmentation. Asexual is by biflagellate zoospores, and sexual reproduction is by gamete fusion. Sexual reproduction is by gamete fusion, and here the male gamete has pyriform flagella, okay, which is bean shape. Okay, male gamete is like bean shape, pyriform male gamete, and mostly sexual mode of reproduction is what? Oogamous, and male gametes will float through water. This is about storage bodies. Important to remember, laminarin and mannitol. Cell wall is cellulosic. Above cellulosic cell wall, you have a hydrocolloid. Hydrocolloid is what? Algin in the brown algae. Okay. Reproduction, vegetative, asexual and sexual. Next, here these are the important diagrams from your text. You look into laminaria. Laminaria is the brown algae which has holdfast, stipe and frond. Okay. Holdfast is the structure which attaches the algae to the substratum. Stipe is a small stalk-like structure which is holding fronds. Fronds are the leaf-like structures. And in fucus, if you see, holdfast and midrib and frond is present. In frond, you can see the air bladders. There is no stipe here in the fucus. Okay, there is no stipe in fucus. Okay, dictyota, here you see, in dictyota you have stipe and frond, and there is no holdfast. Okay, and these air bladders are also addressed as nematocytes. Nematocytes. Fine, right? Laminaria, fucus and dictyota. I hope this is clear. This symbol differentiations, please make a note of it. We can expect it in the diagram based questions. And here you can see kelps. Okay, kelps which are profusely branched. Next you see Rhodophyceae, which is the last class of the algae, algal division. Look into the general characteristics. Rhodophycean members, they are mostly multicellular. Some have complex body organization. Their habitat is mostly marine and they are found in warmer areas, like they have high light intensity regions and closer to the surface areas to the great depths of the oceans. Their habitat varies, like most of them are marine, but they can present close to the surface area and they can present at the ocean beds as well. Pigmentation, if you have to observe, chlorophyll A, D, R-phycoerythrin and R-phycocyanin. R-phycoerythrin and R-phycocyanin, these are what? Phycobilins. Phycobilins. Phycobilins are water soluble pigments. Phycobilins are water soluble pigments. Remember this carefully. Phycobilins are water soluble pigments. R-phycoerythrin and R-phycocyanin, these are phycobilins, these are water soluble pigments. Reserve food material is what? Floridian starch. These are the general characteristics. Mostly they are multicellular with complex body organization. Habitat, they are present in the surface areas and in the ocean depths. Pigmentation, chlorophyll A, D, R-phycoerythrin and R-phycocyanin. R-phycoerythrin and phycocyanin, these are the phycobilins, water soluble pigments, and reserve food material is Floridian starch. Then you see cell wall. Cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin and polysulfate esters. Above the cell wall composition is important to remember, cellulose, pectin and polysulfate esters. Above the cell wall composition you have hydrocolloids. Hydrocolloids like agar, carrageen and fumarate. Okay, you have agar, carrageen and fumarate. Fine, right? Next is reproduction. Vegetative, asexual and sexual modes of reproduction. Vegetative mode of reproduction is fragmentation. Asexual is by non-motile gametes. Sexual mode of reproduction is by non-motile gametes. Non-motile male gamete here is spermatium and non-motile female gamete is termed as carpogonium. Important to remember the names. Okay. Male gamete here is what, spermatium, and female is carpogonium. And here you can see different red algae, Porphyra, Polysiphonia which is branched, Giladium, and these are profusely branched polysiphonial members which are present in the oceans. This is the comparative analysis table which is in your text, again very important. Okay, chlorophycean members commonly called as what, green algae, Phaeophyceae brown algae, Rhodophyceae red algae. Just from this table you are asked with many times of questions, just from this table. Okay. Major pigments, if you see chlorophyll A and B over here, chlorophyll A, C, fucoxanthin from Phaeophyceae, chlorophyll A, D and phycoerythrin in Rhodophycean members. Stored food is starch, here it is mannitol and laminarin. Rhodophycean members is Floridian starch. Cell wall of green algae cellulose, of brown algae cellulosic cell wall which is covered by hydrocolloid, that is algin. Rhodophycean member cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin and polysulfate esters. Flagellar members, 2 to 8 apical flagella you see in chlorophycean members, 2 unequal flagella of heterocon type of flagella you can see in Phaeophycean members. Rhodophyceae flagella is absent. Habitat is fresh water, brackish water, salt water in chlorophyceae. Fresh water, brackish, salt, all the modes of water is you will see in chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. Primarily the habitat is aquatic. Economic importance, economic importance, if you see algal photosynthesis, half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on earth is done by algae, half of the total carbon dioxide fixation. This increases the level of what? Dissolved oxygen in the oceans. This increases the level of dissolved oxygen in the oceans. Fine. And algae primarily produces what? This forms the basis of food cycle for all the aquatic animals. Around 70 species of marine algae, they are used as what? Food. Okay, around 70 species of marine algae are used as food. For example, Porphyra, Laminaria and Sargassum, they are used as food. And next, food supplements. Food supplements are unicellular algae like Chlorella and Spirulina. They are used as food supplements, specially by the space travelers. Okay, chlorella and spirulina, these are the unicellular algae used as food supplements, specially by the space travelers. Hydrocolloids, you see, marine brown and red algae. Brown algae has the hydrocolloid algin, red algae has the hydrocolloid agar and keragin, which is commercially used. Gracilaria and Giladium, they have what? Agar. Both of them are red algae. They are used in microbial culture as well, and they are used in preparations of ice creams and jellies. All the economic importance is very important, because in your EAPCET PYQs many at times the questions are asked on the economic importance of algae and fungi as well. Whenever I am dealing in the biological classification, I have told you about fungi as well. So, from the economic importance we can expect the questions. Next, rich source of iodine are kelps. Kelps are the rich source of iodine. Best examples include laminaria and fucus. Now about the life cycle. Life cycle of algae is haplontic life cycle. Life cycle of algae is haplontic. One example I can take and explain is about Chlamydomonas. So, here you see, first we will take the gametophytic structures only. First you take the Chlamydomonas whose ploid is haploid. Let us consider asexual reproduction. Okay, Chlamydomonas by spore formation like zoospores. Zoospores, Chlamydomonas undergoing first what? Mitosis. In mitosis, of course, ploidy is undisturbed and it will produce what? Zoospores, which are haploid from zoosporangium. This haploid zoospores will produce into a new Chlamydomonas. This is the asexual reproduction whose complete cycle is haploid. Now we will look into the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction in Chlamydomonas is what? Isogamous sexual reproduction. Look into this, and they are produced into the gametes. Here both male and female gamete isogamous sexual reproduction happens. After gametic fusion, diploid zygote is formed. Here what type of meiosis is happening? Zygotic meiosis. Zygotic meiosis. Remember, zygotic meiosis happens both in the life cycle of algae and fungi. So, here it is zygotic meiosis. After zygotic meiosis, haploid spores are produced, which develop into a new haploid Chlamydomonas. So, the only diploid cell in the entire life cycle of algae is zygote. This zygote is undergoing meiosis. As the haploid stages are very limited to one cell, the entire life cycle is considered as haplontic life cycle. But then there are few exceptions in the life cycle of algae. Okay, what are those few exceptions? Where we can see few of the algae are following haplodiplontic mode of life cycle. Haplodiplontic life cycle is observed in, take a note of it, very important. Haplodiplontic life cycle is observed in Ectocarpus, Polysiphonia and kelps. And diplontic life cycle is observed in fucus. Okay, diplontic life cycle is observed in fucus, which are brown algal members. Brown algae members. Fine, right? And these are haplodiplontic, these are the algae which undergoes haplodiplontic life cycle. So, in the brown algae members like fucus, which forms diplontic life cycle, the major plant body is saprophytic. Remember these points. Okay, these are not provided in your text, but will be asked in your exam. there is a possibility of having a question from this aspect. Okay, so this is about complete algae, vegetative characters, reproductive characters, its classification, basis of classification, economic importance, and finally life cycle with its exceptions. In our next class, we will be dealing with bryophytes and pteridophytes. In the next class, we will be going through bryophytes and pteridophytes, one more class on gymnosperms, angiosperms, and on the same day, we will be solving all the EAPCET previous year questions on this chapter. Okay, rather than going concept by concept, we will first finish the chapter, and at the end of the chapter, we will practice all the EAPCET previous year questions. And once again, I will tell this and end up the session that this playlist is completely useful for all the aspirants who are aspiring for EAPCET 2026, both from AP and TG Telangana. Okay, AP and TG EAPCET aspirants of 2026, they will get highly benefited from these sessions, because complete content with the EAPCET previous year questions practice is provided in this playlist. Complete content is given. Okay, so make use of it, make use of it, and that's all for today's session. Thank you.